Welcome back, students. We continue with lesson 14, Composition and Structure of the Atmosphere. In the previous video, we had discussed two layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Today, we continue with the other layers, and we will also discuss the ozone layer and the depletion of the ozone layer. We begin with mesosphere. The mesosphere lies between the stratosphere and the thermosphere and extends from about 50 kilometers to about 80 kilometers above mean sea level. The temperature in this layer decreases with height and reaches a minimum of minus 110 degrees Celsius near the mesopause, that is here. This is the upper limit of the mesosphere known as mesopause. Most meteors from space burn up in this layer. Noctilucent clouds or night shining clouds form in the mesosphere. As you can see in this picture, these are noctilucent or night shining clouds. They are thought to be made of ice crystals that form on fine dust particles from meteors. These clouds are too faint to be seen in daylight and are visible only when illuminated by sunlight from below the horizon, while these very high clouds are still in sunlight. The last layer is thermosphere, which extends from mesopause and consists of two layers, ionosphere and exosphere. So let's start with ionosphere. Ionosphere extends up to a height of about 400 km. It forms the lower part of thermosphere. The ionosphere is ionized by high energy ultraviolet X-rays and gamma rays from the sun. The atoms are stripped of one or more electrons and ions are generated which are positively charged. The ionosphere is unique because the charged particles called ions refract and reflect radio waves which are vital for long distance radio communication. As you can see in this picture, this is the ionosphere, and as you see, low frequency waves are reflected. Higher frequency waves travel further. They travel further before being reflected, and then you have very high frequency waves which pass through the atmosphere. So the ionosphere is very important because it makes long distance radio communication possible. The behavior of the charged particles is strongly affected by the magnetic field of the Earth and the Sun in this layer. It causes the spectacular display of lights called the aurora borealis in the northern hemisphere and aurora australis in the southern hemisphere. Aurora borealis is also known as northern lights, and aurora australis is also called southern lights. Here you can say this spectacular display of lights called aurora borealis. Exosphere. The exosphere is the uppermost layer in the structure of the atmosphere. So as you can see in this diagram, this is the exosphere. It lies between 400 to 1500 kilometers above the Earth. The exosphere is the region where molecules from the atmosphere can overcome the pull of gravity and escape into outer space. Since the exosphere fades into space, there is no clearly distinguished upper boundary. In this layer, temperature increases with height and density becomes extremely low. The main gases found here are hydrogen and helium. Satellites are parked in the exosphere. Our next topic is ozone and its depletion. Ozone is a triatomic form of oxygen. It forms due to the splitting of oxygen molecules by high energy solar photons and electric discharge during thunderstorms. The single oxygen atom then recombines with oxygen molecules to form ozone. This has already been discussed in the previous video. Ozone gas is bluish and pungent in higher concentrations. In the stratosphere, it forms a safety shield by absorbing the ultraviolet radiation and stops it from reaching the Earth's surface. It also protects the Earth and its biosphere from the extra heat. So as you can see in this diagram, the ozone layer which is there in the stratosphere absorbs the ultraviolet rays and protects the Earth. Ozone is also generated in the troposphere by sunlight acting on pollutants. This again has been discussed in the chapters dealing with pollution. The tropospheric ozone is very harmful to living organisms and damages our health, the forest, and also reduces crop yields. The stratospheric ozone protects, and the tropospheric ozone causes ecological problems. In the late 80s, the scientists of NASA, that is National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and NOAA, that is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, detected depletion in the ozone layer and certain parts in this layer with very little or no ozone. These ozone depleted spaces in the ozone layer are termed as ozone holes. The British scientists in 1987 detected an ozone hole as large as the continent of Europe over the continent of Antarctica. So if you see, this satellite picture was taken on October 7, 1987, and you can see the ozone hole over the continent of Antarctica. Now let us understand what causes the depletion of ozone. A major cause of ozone depletion is the use of chlorofluorocarbons, commonly known as CFCs. They are used in things like refrigerators, air conditioners, and spray cans. When CFCs reach the stratosphere, they are broken down into chlorine atoms by the ultraviolet radiation. These atoms then react with ozone and convert them into oxygen. A single atom of chlorine can destroy 100,000 molecules of ozone. When rockets are sent to outer space, they also emit a large quantity of chlorine gas. As you can see in this picture, CFCs released into the environment by industries rise up to stratosphere. Then sunlight breaks CFCs up, releasing chlorine. Chlorine reacts with ozone and destroys ozone, and more reactions cause more depletion. The hydrocarbons which are released by automobile exhaust and jet aircrafts can also cause the depletion of the ozone layer. Large volcanic eruptions give out sulfur dioxide, which also speeds up destructive chemical reactions. Another cause of destruction of ozone layer discovered recently are solar storms. Solar storms consist of coronal mass ejections and solar flares. Coronal mass ejections are huge bubbles of gas ejected from the sun, and solar flares are explosions on the sun that happen when energy stored in twisted magnetic fields, usually above sunspots, is suddenly released. Here you can see a solar flare in progress. When protons like these bombard the upper atmosphere, they break up molecules of gases like nitrogen and water vapor, and once freed, these atoms react with ozone molecules and reduce the ozone layer. The largest ozone hole was noticed in September 2000 near Antarctica. This hole has formed mainly due to human activities. Ozone depletion resulting in ozone hole is more common to Antarctica, where temperatures are the lowest. Due to bitterly cold Antarctic winter, the stratospheric clouds promote production of chemically active chlorine and bromine. This in turn leads to ozone destruction when sunlight returns in the Antarctic spring. On the other hand, the Arctic atmosphere, though cold, does not get cold enough for the creation of a fully developed ozone hole. So as you can see in this picture, the ozone hole over Antarctica has been shown, and it has been shown in Dobson units. The Dobson unit is the most common unit for measuring ozone concentration. So as you can see in this diagram, 300 units, which is shown in green color. This is normal. Less than 220 Dobson units is shown in blue color, which is a hole. So this is the hole over Antarctica. I conclude my lecture here. In today's video, I discussed two layers of the atmosphere, that is mesosphere and thermosphere, and I also discussed the ozone layer and its depletion. Thank you.